Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Now, we just discussed how far the Rams might go, but what about the rest of the loaded NFC West? Let me break it down, how the West will be won, starting with who I think will finish last in the division. Now, at fourth out of four, I got the Arizona Cardinals. Now, it's not because they don't got the names. My question is, does the game match the name? Remember, they signed J.J. Watt this offseason. They signed A.J. Green this offseason. They already got Kyler Murray. They got DeAndre Hopkins, name after name after name after name. But I don't know if the game is going to be there to match. Furthermore, who's captaining the ship? Cliff Kingsbury, he was 35-40 in college. I'm no mathematician, but that's a losing record. And typically when you have a losing record, you don't get promoted, you get demoted. But nonetheless, he gets promoted to the NFL. Good for you, Cliff, but then 5-10-1, your first year as a coach, and then you back that up with an 8-8 season. It's time to win now for the Cardinals, and I'm not convinced that they will, at least not at a high level in that division. So they end up at fourth. Now, who ends up at third? I got the Seattle Seahawks, surprisingly. I still think they'll do fine. I think they'll have a winning record, 9-10 wins. But the problem is this: pressure makes diamonds, but it also bursts pipes. Russell Wilson, he's feeling the pressure right now. He wants a new contract. He wants to have a say in the offensive coordinator. He wants more help. I feel you, Russell Wilson. I think you deserve it. You're a top-flight quarterback. But with all the offseason turmoil, will they be able to recover? I'm not convinced, and that's why I have the Seahawks finishing third in that oh-so-competitive division. Now, finishing second, how about those Niners? Remember what I told y'all just yesterday about Kyle Shanahan? Give him a quarterback that he doesn't choose, he'll make him great. Give him a quarterback that he does choose, he'll make them elite. Now remember, and I'll tell you again, Kyle Shanahan made Robert Griffin in 2012 a Rookie of the Year. Then he made Matt Ryan in 2016 an NFL MVP. He took Jimmy G to the Super Bowl. They still got Jimmy G. That's worst case scenario. Best case scenario, they have a young stud at quarterback who they draft number 3 overall. Couple that with the defenders that are going to return this year to an already solid defense with solid linebackers and solid pass rushers. I think the Niners might surprise that division, get healthy, and with Jimmy G, who wins 75% of the time that he's out there, I think they finish second in the NFC West. So who finishes first? Y'all do the deductive reasoning. Y'all know it's the LA Rams. You give me a beast up front in Aaron Donald, a beast. Maybe the best defensive lineman that we've seen in the last 20, 25 years. You give me a lockdown, shutdown, all-pro corner in Jalen Ramsey, a generational talent at the cornerback position. You give me one of the most brilliant minds in the NFL in Sean McVay. He does so many things with motion. He keeps you on your toes, a defensive player. And then the piece that they've been missing, at least that's what they've told me they've been missing, you give me a quarterback in Matthew Stafford, who has one of the greatest arms we've seen in the NFL. How could they not finish first in that division? Remember, Sean McVay, since he got to the Rams, they've made the playoffs 3 out of his 4 years. Sean McVay, since he got to the Rams, the fewest games he's ever won is 9, and Sean McVay, since he got to the Rams, has already been to a Super Bowl. I have a feeling he's going to get close if he doesn't get all the way there again. So that's my take on who's going to be the best in the NFC West. But I got to bring back NFL analyst Bucky Brooks, far more intelligent than I am when it comes to breaking things down. So, Bucky, you tell me, who do you think is going to be the best in the NFC West? Give me your order and how it shakes out.
Okay, now, I'm going to go from top to bottom. I'm going to say that the way it goes, the Seattle Seahawks are the team that reigns supreme in this division. And the reason why I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks is because Russell Wilson, Jamal Adams, and this crew, more time, more chemistry, more connectivity. I believe this team gets back on track. They bring over a new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, who's going to put in this LA Rams-type system, which is going to make the game so much easier for Russell Wilson, who's been complaining about that. Because of that, I have them at number 1. 2, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Kyle Shanahan gets the gang back together, meaning all the guys that went on injured reserve due to injury, they now come back. You get Nick Bosa to bolster that pass rush. You get George Kittle, a full 16 games worth of George Kittle, and they go. And Jimmy Garoppolo, who has been poked and pushed and prodded to up his performance, I think he plays at a better level. The LA Rams come in at third, and I know everyone is surprised because Matthew Stafford comes over. That means it's an immediate upgrade because he's more talented. My number 1 question would be, are we convinced that Matthew Stafford can play winning football? I've seen Jared Goff play winning football, and just because you have more talent doesn't necessarily mean you understand the tactics that are necessary to win games. And also on the defense side of the ball, Brandon Staley is no longer there. That dominant defense who we controlled, he's no longer there. So I know Aaron Donald is going to ball. I know that Jalen Ramsey is also going to ball out. But they're missing some pieces in the secondary. How do they replace those guys? And then bringing up the rear, the Arizona Cardinals. I know they went and got the 30-somethings, J.J. Watt and A.J. Green and those guys, but I simply don't see them closing ground on the division rivals. I think they're the cellar dwellers, and we can talk about what happens to Cliff Kingsbury at the end of that season.
Not the cellar dwellers, Bucky Brooks. It's good to get your take on the NFC West. I just had this conversation in part with Malcolm Jenkins, with my brother. But let me ask you this. You don't think that all this offseason drama that the Seattle Seahawks are having with Russell Wilson, he wants to get paid, they're thinking about trading him. How do you not believe that that will impact them enough to knock them out of the #1 spot in the NFC West?
Well, this diva show has been going on for a while. He became the celebrity quarterback a few years ago. This doesn't change anything. He just continues to do what he does. He has to play at a higher level because ultimately, he wants to get paid, and the only way to get paid is to produce and to perform, and he will do that because he has always done that. I think the bigger thing will be, how does this defense respond in year 2 with Jamal Adams playing safety? We saw Jamal Adams deployed as the blitzer, the designated hitter in the box. I think now they get more creative and allow him to do things that will enable him to be in the conversation as Defensive Player of the Year. I like Seattle. I like what they're doing.
I don't mind you having the Niners at #2 because obviously I have the Niners at #2. We both have the Cardinals at the 4 spot. I think that makes sense. It's not about the Cardinals lacking talent. I think the Cardinals just don't necessarily have the master chef to make sure you can prepare the proper meal with all the ingredients in the kitchen, because I do think they have the ingredients. But we got to talk about these Rams. Because from what I hear, your biggest concern is, can Matthew Stafford play winning football? But Jared Goff was not playing winning football. He was playing losing football, not even neutral football. He was 0-7. Remember, America, 0-7 as a starter Jared Goff was before Sean McVay shows up. Sean McVay shows up. Jared Goff wins 11 games, goes to the playoffs, losing the wild card game. Next year, second year under Sean McVay, not only do they go to the playoffs, they go to the Super Bowl. If you can do that with Jared Goff, who not only was not playing winning football, was playing losing football, atrociously losing football. If you can do that with Jared Goff, how would you even doubt what you can do with Matthew Stafford?
I mean, that was years ago. That was Jared Goff's rookie year when he was 0-7. He was still trying to figure out how to navigate the 4-5 and the 1-1. He didn't know where he was going. How can we expect him to know how to get this team to the winner's circle? But then he had back-to-back years where he played at a high level. And I think your brother alluded to this. The league caught up with Sean McVay. The league caught up with him doing 11 personnel and fly sweeps and all that other stuff. And what we've seen from Sean McVay is he has a killer fastball. But when you start knocking that thing out the park, he doesn't have any other pitches. What is he going to do? So I think now the pressure is not only on Matthew Stafford coming over, who has 0 playoff wins. I know how you like to point to that when we talk about quarterbacks, 0 playoff wins. But what does Sean McVay do now that the league has caught up to his offense? What is his adjustment?